The only real way to test if you truly want something is if you are working towards doing it. I think that I want to be someone that has a clean room and a clean desk, and to be someone who just oozes a sense of complete organization. And yet I find myself in a rush, and I'll just leave something somewhere, and slowly these somethings that I leave around build up, and I quickly surprise myself with a mess that appears. Well, there are two fundamental types of want that we face in the path to achievement. And these different desires represent the fight between what we want the action of our current self to do and what we want the achievements of our future self to be. And you can summarize them as, what do I want to do now versus what do I want in the future to have done, my achievements. And these two different wants can work against each other quite a lot to cause failure and frustration. But the good news is that if we want to find success in life, we need to learn how to harmonize these two different desires to make them the same thing, because then you're desiring the things that you're actually going to do, and you thus do them and succeed. Sounds very simplistic, but it is actually what you need to sort out if you're ever going to do things. And in life, we can often put lots of pressure on ourselves and have lots of different wants that we want to achieve without putting the time into understanding if we genuinely actually desire to do the thing with our time in the here and now. Maybe some people want to eat healthy and lose weight. Others want to go to bed early or learn a language, maybe start a business and get rich or marry a movie star. And it's fine to dream about stuff, of course, but it's good to know if we are actually going to act in line with these desires that we have, or if they're just fantasies that we're never going to achieve if we don't make a big change in our lifestyle. A desire is just a contract with yourself to be unhappy until you achieve the desire. So if you have a bunch of desires that you aren't going to achieve, that's just a recipe to be unhappy for a very long time, which no one really wants, because you're just unhappy and you're never going to achieve any of all these different things that you're wanting. Each different goal that we have represents a major time investment, either on a daily basis or taking major time out, like a 3-month project, or perhaps years of our life to achieve, like starting a business that actually makes you money. Regardless, there is daily work to be done in your moments of now, and they have to be something that you're able to prioritize to make them happen. And then there's this whole other conflicting side of you, which is that you do need to relax. You need to do things that energize yourself, and you need to allow your brain to recharge, like having good sleep, spending time with friends, being creative, whatever you like to do. And in the modern day, there is a huge drive to just always be achieving. And with my last business, I had to really remind myself that I do need to take care of myself and not grind myself into a million pieces, because you can't celebrate success if it requires a lifestyle that you don't want because you're too busy, or you're doing things you don't actually want to do to try and achieve an idea of success that you haven't even worked out if you want, because it involves doing lots of things you don't actually like doing. So we need to think about what is the right type of work for us. We are generally taught that the things that we want to have done, our achievements, might take a lot of pain and perseverance, and that's where success lies. Do difficult things. Well, yes, you do have to do some difficult things, but sometimes the things that you do like doing, the things you want to do, aren't always junk ideas that are just bad for you. And so I think it's worth looking into some of the science behind motivation and action to dig into this. If you look into the psychology of action, you'll find there are two levers that we need to work on that can result in completing an action. There's basically a formula that whether we do an action or not is dependent on the motivation we have to do it and how easy it is to do. So motivation times ease of doing it will result in whether we take the action. And each of them can be a different threshold. If it's really easy to do, we don't need that much motivation. If we super want to do it, even if it's really hard, we'll still get it done. And if it's really easy to do and we have lots of motivation, then it'll be done instantly. And how this conveys into simple logic in action is the absolutely perfect diet that will make you live as long as possible with the maximum health is probably too hard to maintain and ends in failure. Whereas an imperfect diet that has a few flaws, isn't like 100% everything your doctor will say, but you are able to stick to it week in, week out, and does not fail, the imperfect diet is better than the perfect diet that is too hard to bother doing. So often we find that just by taking it easier on ourselves, we can actually become a lot more successful in the long run. And we do need to get in touch with just who we are and how we operate and investigate the reality of who we are day to day. And then we can find how to bring energy and enthusiasm to our work day in, day out, and have that motivation because we don't feel like we're going to end in failure. And once you've found something that you can perform consistently at, then that's where you reap the benefits of the compound effect because you can do it for years. Like a perfect diet that you keep for 1 week is going to do nothing for your life. An imperfect diet that is still better than nothing that you do for the rest of your life will really change your life and your health outcomes. So, of course here, I'm not saying don't bother, relax, and just do completely easy stuff. Whatever it is in life, you do need to find some challenges that excite you and perhaps look for the things that are easier, relatively speaking, for you. And to do that, you need to try different things out. Like I've probably talked about diets too much at this point, but I've tried most diets just for the curiosity to see what I like about it or not. And I just enjoy the process of trying things. And then after I've done the diet for a month or whatever it is, I return to my normal habits, but I might have picked up something new in the process, learned some different sorts of recipes, and just added an awareness of my own body and eating habits that I can take forwards. And we should really try to be like that with lots of other stuff around our challenges, just to find what styles of working work for us, what styles of exercise we find fun, who are the right kinds of people we want to hang out with. Some people haven't made that many friends because they've never tried to find the people that are the right people for them. And honestly, at university, I didn't have that many friends because I was kind of bored of getting drunk and just didn't hang out with people that much and was just running a business. It wasn't until after I finished university and started helping other entrepreneurs run their businesses where I was like, oh my God, there's lots of nuts people like me that just make loads of connections and want to do something useful for the world, as opposed to people that just party all the time. And suddenly I had lots of friends, but I spent 3 years with basically none. And I do find it really annoying how much advice there is to be specifically doing one thing when everyone's so unique and you really have to find what suits you. Like if you want to write a book, there are several ways to do it. Maybe 30 minutes every day when you wake up. Perhaps a 4-hour session every Sunday afternoon. Perhaps maybe you need to go to a cabin in the woods for a whole month and shut off the world. Or you could answer 2 Quora posts a day on a specific subject until you've written a book worth of different ideas. Or I have a friend that runs a newsletter and he's just using that newsletter week in, week out to flesh out all the different ideas of his first draft. But the only real thing that matters for writing a book is if you're just writing some words at some form of regular cadence. And how you do it is really up to you and how you can make it work for you. Like anybody that tells you that the answer for your problems is to get up at 5 a.m. every day and write for 3 hours and make sure you're in bed by like 9 p.m. It's just lying. They're saying what works for them. Like Picasso was still painting at 2 a.m. in the morning and he was a pretty successful guy. Carrying on this analogy, when you're having problems and you want to achieve something, it might depend on the things that you need to avoid. Like many of us struggle to focus during the workday from emails and distractions, so that's not a good time to be writing a book, for example. But my friend that I spoke about who's writing his book by writing a newsletter, he lives in Europe and all of his clients are in America. So he writes all morning from like a sociable time, like 9 till midday. And he's free to write undisturbed because he doesn't have any emails then. But whatever it is you might be trying to achieve depends on other things that you need to juggle and factor in for you that's entirely personal and dependent on you. And now we're at a good point to talk about sacrifices. Surely, if you want to be mega successful or achieve any goal in life, you have to make sacrifices. Well, sacrifice depends on how you look at it, because if you really feel like you're losing out on something, like that might not necessarily mean you actually want to do the thing that much. When I spoke to Sir Ben Hunt Davis, who's a gold medal Olympic rower, I asked him about his sacrifices to win an Olympic gold medal after 15 years of training. And he told me that he honestly didn't think it was a sacrifice because he felt like he was kind of being selfish. He really wanted to train every day for glory more than he wanted to go out and drink or socialize. Cutting those things out of his life wasn't a sacrifice for him at all because he was doing what he wanted to do more than anything else each day. He was just following his priorities. And that takes us back to my initial statement about what do you actually want to do versus what do you want to just have done and achieved. Because if you still want to have a beer more than you want to go for a run or do your training, like it's clearly not your priority to go and do your training right now. And it feels like a big sacrifice for you to miss out on going for that beer. But if you truly, truly want to do something, you will pretty quickly find yourself doing it. Because if you want to be fit more than you want to hang out with friends and go for a beer, that's what you'll be doing. I live in Portugal. Pastel de natas are incredible, but for me, ignoring them isn't really a problem. Like, I'm not some freak of nature that doesn't like the taste of pastel de natas. They are delicious. I don't have some crazy level of willpower to resist their deliciousness. I just want to be healthy more than eating sugary junk food. And so it's actually not that hard. And so for my priorities, it's already sorted out and I don't feel like I'm making any sacrifices. And so back to the making it easier or motivation, it's not so much that you have to pump yourself up to motivate yourself of like, yeah, I'm going to try hard. It's more that you have to really want it. And that's the motivating factor, not the I'm hardcore and I can suffer difficulties. But of course, as we've said, motivation isn't the only lever, and we also have the ease of the thing. And there are two different ways we can make a task easier. There is, of course, the direct task itself. And with that, we can try making the task shorter, perhaps reducing the time it takes or the quantity that we need to do each day. Like I know some podcasters that are trying to publish once a week a 40-minute episode, and you're like, hey, do a 20-minute episode and you'll actually get it out each week as opposed to this 40-minute episode that you only do once a month. Or don't start running 10 kilometers and never do it when you could start by just running 500 meters every day, super easy, and build up over time. Another thing is just the complexity of the task and break it into different steps. Like you want to be a YouTube star, but it doesn't happen overnight. You need to work on your brand. You need to work on different elements of all of the different things that you do, like how you talk, how you make videos, how you do thumbnails, how you do titles, what your topic even is, etc. And just do small bits about it. Another way to make tasks easier is to just make them more fun. Add some gamification, add some prizes, do it with friends, like going to the gym with someone else that you know makes it easier. Or if you can watch some TV whilst being on an exercise bike, it goes pretty fast. And whatever it is that you are trying to do, you can probably find some ways to make it more fun or easier that will really help you. And besides doing that, there's just the other side of your life, which is giving yourself more energy for it. That means doing things like sleeping better, eating better, giving yourself more time off, and of course, reducing the number of other goals that you are working on and things that conflict with your bigger desire. Because if I'm trying to do 20 different things at once, I don't do any of them very well. Half of them I just don't do at all because I'm just confused and I'm stressed the whole time. If I'm trying to just work on one major thing, I'm way calmer. I'm aware that I am doing the thing or I'm not doing the thing. I just feel way more at peace in myself. And when we have too many desires, we want to be all these different things. We feel like we have to be on LinkedIn to keep our business presence up, whilst also turning up to every meeting and answering emails on time. And it's just too much. Like, prioritize the things that are important and actually cut out the things that aren't important. And it will give your brain space to actually work on the things that you need to work on with more ease and more motivation. And I think this is one of the most important parts of productivity that people don't talk about. And it's like the opposite of what you hear. And that's to make our task more easy and motivating. We really need the time to enjoy ourselves and recharge. Whereas most people look at productivity as, how can I add more things in? How can I make the most of my time? How can I be on? And it's like, maybe to get the most out of yourself, you need to do less and chill out. And in fact, what you need to work on is narrowing the gap between all of these things you want to have done and achieved and all the things that you actually are really going to want to do on a day-to-day level, and keeping that something that you can enjoy. And when you can make all those things you want to have done much less, and so they actually meet the things that you want to be doing at a day-to-day level, that's when you're actually enjoying your life and you're in flow and you're content where you're actually at. And I think society just shows us way too many ultra successful people on one domain, like money, but they're not that happy because they're working like crazy to be where they're at and then sustain the lifestyle of looking like someone with money. But the truth is, you don't need to make that much money to be really happy if you can just go and do stuff you like and relax a lot of the time. And you are much more likely to achieve your definition of success for you if it's something that you can stick to and do day in, day out, than if you just have a definition of success that just keeps on getting bigger and you have more and more wants and things that you want to have done with yourself. Now, as I said, desire is a contract with ourselves to be unhappy until we achieve the thing we want. So setting lots of goals is a dangerous business for your mental health. We do need to be ambitious and lean into trying lots of things and have a bit of a risky attitude and not worry about failure. But we need to be pragmatic and review what our real desires are and work out what are the things that perhaps need to be cut out of our life and what are the desires that need to be cut out of our life because they're actually just lying around, getting in the way of the things that are actually important for us and otherwise just making us unhappy and feeling unsuccessful when we aren't. And you can see some of my recent episodes on life dysmorphia and social pressure personality disorder for some of the stupid stuff that having desires that aren't helpful for you will cause in your life. Now, I hope that this episode has given you a nudge into just aligning your desires with the actions you're going to take in life. And if you're feeling like you're having some ideas but could work on them further, in the show description, there is a link to a set of journal prompts that will help you align your desires with your actual habits that you will do and then achieve the important things for you in your life and let go of the unimportant things. And I would really recommend having a look and just digging into it if anything I spoke about resonated with you. And good luck to you on that. If you know somebody in your life who talks about lots of things that they want to do, but clearly just wants to have done those things without doing the difficult part of doing it, please send them this episode to help them stop annoying themselves and possibly you with all of their crap talk. Other useful things that you can do for me are sticking a sizzling hot review in an app of choice anywhere. Remember that life is too short to want things that you are never going to actually do. So get yourself into alignment, work through the worksheet I mentioned in the podcast description, and don't forget to be kind to yourself. And remember to always smile at strangers, however weird they actually look. Thank you so much for listening.
Go you!
Your consistency to reach the end of an episode is legendary.
My hero!
But when we learn things, it's important to reflect. So I politely invite you to take a pause, rifle through the biggest ideas you just heard. So here's your opportunity to hit pause and have a think. Okay, did you wrestle with some insights? Information doesn't stick when we race from one podcast to the next without using our brain to play with the knowledge. So here's another go at a pause. Alrighty, I'll let you off to continue with your life now. If you have any ideas or feedback for the show, I'm always interested to hear from you.
You're the best!
And other than that, please stay curious. Curious. Quote. Smiling for no reason.